this is the investment. Sure, it is. But really, what we're using is we're not using all of it. We're using a portion of it. And what it winds up costing us is 15 cents. So now it gives us a better idea of what to sell this for. But here's the hardest part, chefs, and I'm sure you know this. And if you don't, you will soon. What is your time worth? How long did it take you to make this one cookie? And can you do it quicker? Is there any other way? Does anybody have any ideas? Well, you know what? Before I ask questions like that, I want to make some observations of this formula. I want us to notice that the most expensive things on this are the butter, the salt, the vanilla, and the nuts. Well, and the nuts. Sorry. So think about that. Butter. I mean, what I noticed about that is those are the real food tucked away in this formula. Now, eggs are a real food, but or a whole food. It's just that they're very inexpensive. But I that's what I noticed. So the reason why I'm pointing this out is because there are. I mean, if you wanted to sell 1,000 cookies and 15 cents, you just felt like you can get it cheaper. The only real way you could do it is, well, you would get imitation vanilla, you would use a cheaper shortening, and you would probably not take the nuts out. So, you know, I'm pointing that out because to me it's a.
I have a question, Chef.
Thanks. Yeah.
So the cookie cost you 15 cents, right?
Yeah.
How much would you sell it for?
That's the question. That's the question. Now, we don't have all the numbers, though, and you're right. That's a good question. So how long does it take? Now, that's the next question. And what is your time worth? And do you have the equipment to do it efficiently? You know, are you doing this by hand, or are you doing it with an electric mixer? Are you buying in bulk, or are you buying your stuff from a supermarket? These are things that you really have to be careful with, because this is where your numbers start to shift. So how much would I sell? Well, so first of all, it wouldn't really behoove us to sell one cookie.
I have another question. How about if you would put it in a lunchbox with a sandwich and something else?
Yeah, like a part of something. Yeah,
yes.
That's a good point. So knowing that this cost us 15 cents means something when it becomes a part of something else. So now you figure out what your sandwich costs. You figure out what your milk costs. You figure out what your
box
fruit
costs.
The box, your fruit, and so on and so forth. And you know what? You go like this. You say, yeah, throw in a cookie, and then charge another 20 cents. Yeah, right. You upsell it on the end. Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's kind of where it really works. But if I was going to sell a dozen cookies, I mean, what can you sell a dozen cookies for?
$17.95.
Yeah.
That's what the corner bakery on my street sells, a dozen cookies for $17 or $18. Well, it depends on what it is. If it has like a high-end nut in it, it's 18.
Sure.
And if it's a little cheaper, like a sugar cookie or something like that, it's 17.
Wow, that's
a pound, not a dozen, a pound. I'm sorry.
They do it by weight. Of course they do it by weight. They know what they're doing. It's good
a pound, that's how they do it.
All right, well, so I don't know. I wanted to share that with you because I thought that was good information, and that's what I've been doing during this chaotic time, staying in chocolate cookie. But we also need to know how to make a chocolate chip cookie, which is the second thing we were going to do. So I took the, obviously, not so obvious, scaling. Scaling is the first thing you're going to do when baking, and you want to do it all. You want to weigh it, you want to get it in its bowls, you want to have it done really before you do anything, even preheat the oven, honestly. A lot of chefs might disagree with that, but get the scaling done, just because really it's something you can do yesterday. It's something you can do whenever. I mean, you can sit at home in front of YouTube and just, portion out pounds of this and pounds of that and just save it for a rainy day. You don't even have to bake. So all this stuff, can be done. The second important thing about scaling ahead of time is your eggs and your butter. You want, especially in baking, you want it to be room temperature. It just makes the creaming possible, and it just makes baking actually more enjoyable. You can do it when it's cold, but actually, no, I wouldn't recommend cold butter at all, unless, of course, you're doing pies or pie dough or biscuits. But other than that, you always want it room temperature. So scale out your ingredients and do it accurately, and get yourself a scale. If you don't have one already, get yourself a scale. I think they're affordable now. They're anywhere from $15 to $20 for a decent scale that's going to last you. And it's really one of the most, I think we take for granted how valuable the scale really is. I mean, it's a really good tool that, and it's so easily made available. So get yourself a scale, measure out your ingredients. I measured it all out for us. I have all of this meased out already. I was going to do it by hand. When I was in culinary school, my problem was with baking, I remember, you're laughing like, oh, it's here. What was your problem? It starts. No, I didn't have a KitchenAid. I didn't have a mixer growing up. It just wasn't, these things aren't, they're not cheap.
200 and up.
They're about 200 even now. So I can imagine even more then. So I think personally, I never got involved with baking at a younger age just because it felt like you needed a KitchenAid. But the truth of the matter is, you can do, I would imagine, all baking by hand. I mean, it started well before electronics. So we were doing it by hand at one point. And it actually adds value to your product, because when you whip butter by hand for 10 minutes, you've done some work. I mean, that's actual work now that, like, I'm going to charge more for these cookies now because I was doing this.
Your labor.
Your actual labor. You feel good about charging a little bit more for that. But it is 2020. I am in a culinary school. We have 6 of these here. So I think I'm going to use it. I'm going to have to go for it. And then while I'm doing this, I'm going to tell a little prehistory thing that brought me to salt.
Yes, finally.
That's fine. So I brought some of this in for you guys to enjoy when things get better. There's some salt here for you. So what got me into salt? I'm going to go a little culinary school. I remember culinary school. I'm just going to whip the butter. You're not missing anything here, guys. We all know the creaming method. It's a textbook procedure. You're basically whipping butter with your sugar and salt. What you're doing is you're adding air, and a lot of what we do is we saw a lot of air. We saw a lot of air. So whipping some butter up and fluffing it up and aerating the butter adds volume and extends the product and adds fluffiness to your. What's it add? Fluffiness. It adds that fluffiness to your baked good. So yeah, sugar right in, and I'm just gonna start it low just to blend it all up first before I add all the sugar, just so it's not all over the place like sometimes it happens. I'm gonna start it down because just to start the process, and then I'll bring it up. Keep it on low. It's kind of like testing it out before. You know how it happens. You know how it gets everywhere. It's kind of when you just go for it. So you're testing out each stage of it, making sure the butter is soft enough and everything's right. And then you can start on low. Combine that first. This is just combining right now. I'm not beating any air or anything. I'm combining the product. And then I'm going to add my sugar now, all my sugar in. That was really just to make sure it can get everywhere. Now, this is for 100 cookies. And the thing about, well, we'll get to that, but this is a standard 4-quart mixer, I believe, or 3.5-quart mixer, 5-quart mixer, probably says that somewhere. So, this really puts this thing to work. I mean, if you want to make the investment on a decent KitchenAid like this or a decent mixer like this, you want to put it to work for you. So we're gonna make 100 cookies. So I'm just stirring it up, and then I don't know what it sounds like on their end, but I hope it's coming out. So once I get it all together, I'm going to increase the speed. It's going to come out a little bit. Our butter is just a little on the cooler side. I'm actually a mess here. It's a little bit on the. It could have stood for about another hour of room temp to really soften up, but it'll get there. There we go. So it's well combined now. Now I feel comfortable with increasing the speed a bit. It's going to be a little messy. Maybe 100 cookies is just a little bit. we'll do 85 cookies. Okay. So the mess is made. You're gonna make a mess. It's gonna happen. It's okay. Once it comes together. Okay, we're gonna let that go for 10 minutes. But while that goes, I want to give just a little backstory of what brought me to make a salt blend, or a salt like this. So it started in culinary school. What I remember in culinary school is chef demonstrations like this, and working with lots of chefs that were, well seasoned and lots of experience, and otherwise known as old. Yeah, very old guys. No, but what I remember is, or what I took note of, is how often food was tasted, and then it was recognized that it was always this, it needs something, and it was always salt. It was just a little bit more salt, and I recall the chefs always just adding this salt. So then that had me questioning, well, what is salt? So, this is what it needs. Well, let's just, why don't we just eat the salt? So I'm thinking all these crazy things. So I did some research on salt, and it's got some serious history and prehistory. If you ask some evolutionary biologists, they might tell you, and I believe this, that we collectively came from the ocean, right? So, okay, that's interesting. Well, what do we know about the ocean? The ocean is salt and water. So I found that interesting. I also, if you ask a couple real estate agents, they might tell you the highest valued property is beachside. So we like it. There's something about the coast, the beach, the ocean, the salt that we crave, or we enjoy, or we love. I don't know. I was just trying to question all this. So what I kind of concluded was that, we need salt in our life. But I had a hard time finding a good salt. And I wanted to, in culinary school, I wanted to teach everybody, or I wanted to teach myself, I wanted to learn what would be the best salt. What would be I want all the best ingredients all the time. That's what we want as chefs. We want to serve good ingredients, and we want our product to be good. Well, it didn't exist. So that's what brought us here. I needed it to exist. And what I did was I sought out 7 different salts that I found that work well together from different parts of the world, and just mixed them together. And voila! That's the story. And I think I don't know yet why we need this, or why this is better than other salts. But it's something to do with sodium, and I haven't figured it out yet. But I know sodium's a bad thing, and I haven't quite nailed it yet. But this is it. This is and it's here for you guys to enjoy whenever this stuff is over. I don't know if they can come in or what. What kind of blend do you have there? Kind of funny. This is our Omahina blend. This is what we're calling it. Our Omahina blend. Omahina is Native American Hawaiian for grayish purple. It's not an exact translation. We kind of coined it. This is a blend of 2 Hawaiian salts. That's why we decided to name it that. It's a Hawaiian black salt, a Hawaiian red salt. And these colors signify different minerals, trace minerals that you just don't find in regular salt. So, I feel like the science isn't even out there how good it may or may not be for you, but there are definitely minerals that are from the ocean that we enjoy that, I'm not sure, but anyhow, we have 2 Hawaiian salts. We have Mediterranean salt. We have a North Pacific salt, an Australian salt out of the Arctic Ocean. And was that 7 yet? The 7th is is it Mediterranean? I think that's all of them. 2 Hawaiians. Yeah. Anyway, 7 different salts. We're around the way. You should know this by now, right? And then we have another blend, Hawaiian. Himalayan. So, and then we have another blend that is our first blend that we kind of just sold out of, which is almost the same as that except instead of the black wine, we have more Himalayan and salt that comes from the Andes Mountains.
Oh, wow.
That has a pink hue, so it's much pinker than this. But I mean, there's something about the mineral content that I think that really well, not only makes the food good because of the saltiness that we're doing, but it also good for the body. So anyway, that's the salt story, and I'm fascinated by it because there was probably a time I can imagine historically that we probably took ocean water. I can imagine I did it myself. We took ocean water and we probably stored things in there, like food items. For refrigeration, we probably would store raw meat or maybe vegetables in ocean water, and I can imagine, getting further and further away from the ocean, like we are even here in Chile, not being able to do that. And what better thing to do than just dehydrate the ocean and bring it with you? That's basically what salt is to me. It's reducing the ocean to a little itty bitty jar and then re-adding it to water later at your convenience. Because who would want to lug ocean water around? Can you imagine if we had to do that as chefs? Just be constantly cooking with ocean water? I think it would be too much trouble. So salt's a convenient way to transport the ocean. Anyhow, I'm going to crank up the speed to. I'm going to crank up the speed on this. I think it's been 10 minutes. I wasn't really paying attention, but it feels like 10. Sounds creamy. I'm cranking up the speed just to kind of get the butter off of the attachment now. And then I'm going to, of course, it's important to scrape down the sides from time to time. More important when you add the rest of the ingredients. Now, that's really all the machine's for, believe it or not. The rest is just, it's mixing. So we couldn't possibly put all the ingredients in here. Just wouldn't work. So what we're going to do is since the hardest part is done, whipping the butter. That's really where the labor comes. The rest is mixing. So I'm going to actually add my room temp eggs on low, just to combine them one at a time. I haven't done it because I followed the recipe. But if you add them all, I don't think it's a good idea. I think it kind of pulls up in there. It won't blend. It's not a good idea. So add one at a time. I don't think it would ruin it necessarily, but I think you just have a hard time kind of recombining it all. So we're going to add, again, one at a time until it's combined. Crank up the speed a little bit to get off the product off of the mixer.
Like jumping in a cold pool, chef.
Is that what it is? It's
Yeah, you put your foot in, you get used to it a little bit more. That's why you do one at a time.
I get it. I like it. Yeah. All right. Cranking up the speed. Just, attachment. Lower it. Drop it in. One at a time. One more time. Okay. Go. This one. More. I thought this was perfect for Mother's Day. I mean, with the state of the world, and forget about it, buying things, I don't know that we can do that anymore. We're in culinary school. We're chefs. We want to be chefs. Any opportunity to practice your craft, take it. And holidays are a great opportunity to practice your craft, especially baking. So, you bake 8 dozen cookies and you give them out to the mothers in your life, And we know how much it costs. So if you want to charge your mother, I guess.
Why not?
Okay, so the eggs are combined. It looks beautiful. We almost have a beautiful icing point that we can slap on a cake. Spread on a cake here. I'm going to scrape the attachment a bit. Okay. Oh. So we have a nice whipped butter. Now this is something we can do ahead of time as well. We can whip the butter. We can leave it room temperature until we're ready to move on. We could do this yesterday. It doesn't matter. It holds well. Butter is shelf stable at room temperature. It's got enough sugar in there to keep any harmful bacteria away. There is egg in there now, so it might not be the best thing to keep for too long. However, us chefs know that we can, the rules that we can bend once we know them. Right. eggs are a raw protein, and we do know that raw proteins, we do know that raw proteins can create a hospitable place for growth, but we also know that butter is a antioxidant, and there's salt and sugar in there. So, you know, yeah, so there. And then we also know we're going to bake this at 350 or 375. So, you know, you can do this ahead of time, and you have nice whipped butter for when you're ready to make your cookies. So I have the flour. I had the vanilla. And it's at this point, it's simple. We're just going to combine our whipped butter with our flour, and that's it. And just get it right in there. We're not necessarily doing any more hard work. Again, the mixer was really for whipping the butter. That's the real challenge with most with the baked goods that involve the creaming method. All right. So it's folded in, no rhyme or reason. You can use anything. A wooden spoon will work, or a metal spoon, anything, just to get it combined, and you have your cookie dough. And then we have chocolate chips, but I did measure. Did I leave them on the cart? So we're going to throw in our chocolate chips. I left my cart. Okay. I was going to say that I actually didn't measure out. Did I? Sorry, guys. I want to measure out this. The only thing I didn't need out, or I didn't measure out, but did I lose this scale? Just to be sure here, I want to measure out 200. I'm sorry, what was it here? We have 1,000 grams of chocolate chips. Okay, it's about 2 pounds. Okay. So we have 1,000 grams. We can go in now. That's fine. Yep. And then we're just going to mix. And if we were going to add nuts, which is the option, we would add now as well. And we're just going to mix this until it's combined. Now, one thing you may or may not notice is I didn't use baking soda. So there's a small movement coming from the culinary community, very small, as in right here, I think. Trying to get away from chemicals. Anything that would be a synthetic chemical, whatever that means to you. I'm sure there is a clear definition of it. But to me, what that means is really, if you wouldn't eat it, flour might be the exception. I don't know, but I would eat flour by itself. If you wouldn't eat the product alone, maybe don't cook with it. Maybe that's just or maybe don't use it. I don't know. I haven't really figured out the steadfast rule to it, but I'm trying to myself, especially when I'm preparing food for other people. That's what's key. I mean, like if it's one thing if you're cooking alone for yourself, but as a chef, that's not what we're doing. Our job is really to cook for the community and cook for other people. So you want to make sure you're giving them good quality food. And if that means skipping the chemicals, then skip the chemicals if you can. And you should be able to, because we cooked and baked and et cetera, long before chemicals were developed. So we know we can do it. So it's just making the choice. Now, will that affect the formula? I don't know. It's a chocolate chip cookie. I think we might be okay, especially if we whip the butter properly and we did the creaming method properly. I think we're going to be just fine without adding any baking soda.
Carbonate soda.
It's sodium bicarbonate. Yes, exactly. Which I did. This formula is this cookie, which I did yesterday at home. So it does work. So I mean, we do know that at least. And again, think about that when you're preparing food for other people, and just keep that in mind. And if you can avoid anything that's, I guess, really questionable, just avoid it. I know all the ingredients in here. I'm comfortable with it. I understand all the ingredients in here. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe understanding it. I think we can do it without the baking soda. So you can see it's coming together. You just want to make sure all the flour is fully blended. This is just easy work here. It's almost there. And then the good thing about this, so I made enough for 100 cookies. So once it's all blended, we are going to we're going to portion it. We're going to portion it into 500 gram or 1 pound increments and wrap it up in plastic wrap. So that's what's so good about doing a large amount. So whenever you can do a large amount of something, you're maximizing your time, right? So I basically maxed out that KitchenAid with 100 cookies. There's really not much, really couldn't do much more than that. It really would have put the thing to work. Probably wouldn't have stayed in there. It would have been a mess. So whenever you can, maximize your time by using your equipment to its full capability, right? If you have it. And that's what this is. Now, this is cookie dough. And it's going to stay in your refrigerator. I want to say indefinitely. I really do. But that's.
Was it eggs a week or so? I guess.
Well, I guess
Freeze it.
you could freeze it. Sure. I just feel so far. I've been doing this. I've done this recipe 3 times at my house, in my household, and I don't want to say it lasts forever, but what I want to say is it's going to get used. It's cookie dough, right? So it's every time you're looking in the fridge, you see a raw cookie dough. You might be, anybody in your household can kind of take. You've done the hard part, is what I'm saying, as the chef, right? So now you just leave it up to anybody to. I'll show you what I did ahead of time. So what I did was, you on your scale, measure out 1 pound units, roll it up in some plastic wrap, and now you have cookie dough. You have 8 of these in your fridge, or you bake a couple of them, you have 6 in your fridge, or whatever it is. And, anybody could then at that point, anybody at that point can, just cut them and on a big sheet and bake them.
You're freezing again. You.
Here is well.
All right, you're back.
I'm not quite sure what that was about, again, but we're here. Yeah, I think that.
You're back.
These are valuable tools for you guys as well. These save time and energy. Otherwise, what you're doing is you may be, which you could do. There are options. You can take your scale, you can quenelle or take 2 spoons and kind of see. You can see what 40 grams looks like, and then kind of like, okay, and then use that as your judge, your base, your first cookie, and then line up your 3 by 4 40 gram cookies. Or these things are really handy. And now the reason why it's important is, you want your product to be consistent. They'll bake evenly, they'll look nicer, you'll be able to pack them nicer, so on and so forth. So portioning is really important, and these scoops will help. Now, we did design this formula to be 40 grams. That doesn't mean we're stuck with that. We can still make 50 gram cookies, we can make 20 gram cookies, we make 10 gram cookies, because we chefs know that it is 15 cents for 40 grams. Or is it 15 cents a gram? Sorry. What did we decide?
15 cents a cookie.
For a 40 gram cookie.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So for 40 gram cookie, so we can figure out what 1 gram of the cookie costs, which if we do the math, comes out to, I believe, 4 cents a gram. Right? Yeah, about roughly 4 cents a gram. So if you want to do a 10 gram cookie, we know that costs the math, right? 5. You understand? So we can change this if we want, but we like what 40 grams looks like, right? I mean, I think it's a nice size cookie. So what we could do is we could take our portion scoop and just pack it and just weigh one, just to get an idea of what the purple handled scoop will offer us in metric. And then 1 scoop is 30 gram. So we can use this to save time, and we have 30 gram cookies. Or we can, like I said, we can quinel a 40 gram and 40 gram measurement and see what that looks like. It's really up to you, but because we have the cost, we know what, we have the control. So we're gonna line up our baking sheet. That's it. We're gonna put it in our oven at 375. Our oven has been preheated at 375. We're gonna bake it for 12 minutes. Obviously check it, equipment's different. And then we're gonna pull it from the oven. Get all different, right? Go for more. And that's it. Now, I don't know. I'd like to, you got to try these cookies, right? This is kind of like the whole point. So I think what I'm going to do is there's going to be cookies and salt here for you guys when things open back up. But they'll be good. I promise you. They'll be here. So yeah, that's that. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate that you can't.
I'll test them, chef.
Yeah, test them. Yeah. Would you try one for us?
I sure will.
Yeah. Oh, they're still a little warm. So we're carry on.
All screwed up again.
We're like cool just a bit for cooling, and then they'll completely stick back. Or they're small too. We can't crack it.
Is it me or what? Like it's.
No.
Oh, word.
Nah, it's definitely them.
I don't know why we're having this issue today. We haven't had this problem, but we are having it, obviously.
There's a mayhem.
So I've you guys can see me, because right now I can't control the meeting. There? Anybody there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, we're here.
Yeah.
I
No.
feel like I'm testing a microphone.
There you go. You're back.
Yeah, I'm back. I don't know why we're having this issue today. Did you hear me earlier? I don't want to say what I said already.
Yeah. Why are we having this issue?
Yeah, it's been,
Time for us to
been
come back to
fine.
school. That's why.
No, because we have mayhem there.
Well, before I lose you guys again,
Sorry,
I want to thank everybody for giving me time. It feels really good to be back and Chef White's and put on some chef hands today. Really, thanks for the time too. Really,
Greatly appreciate it.
I hope you guys learned some stuff. Enjoyed the.
It was cool. Need
thank
some
you
info
so
on
much.
salt,
Appreciate
though.
So, yeah, I know. We didn't get to get. We kept losing, so we'll have to do a salt tasting. But we already know salts are amazing, right? Like if anybody's, for you guys who have done the dining room, when you tell people that the butter that we're serving to them is topped with Himalayan sea salt, they all go ooh and ah, and they get all excited about it.
Sure.
And Sean and I have gone back and forth a few times about salt and salt.
There's some hefty debates out there about salt.
In the lobby.
Right in the lobby, yeah. I mean, I'm curious to what your thoughts are, as students, or, it's something to start paying attention to, I think, a little bit. We do need to understand, we learn it in the textbook, we learn it in the associate program. We do need to have some understanding, and I don't know. It's something. It's just another thing for you guys, the students, to pay attention to and observe and consider, when you're cooking.
But it upscales any menu description, any item. It's a good thing to add, and the actual cost differences are minimal since so few grams are used in general. So it is a cool thing. Salts are okay. Anyway, I'm sorry about the computer issues today. Any questions for Chef about anything?
Yes, Sean.
You should all be unmuted. I think I muted you all.
Yeah, I hope this was clear. This up here was helpful as well. If you were able to.
Sean,
A lot, Chef.
Yeah, it was helpful.
Good.
Sean, do you work for this
Hey,
company?
guys, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, and then I'm sorry.
Sean, do you work for this company, Salt of the Earth?
It is me and my wife. We are salt of the earth.
Good, send me a link. I love salt.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. We put it together ourselves. We designed it. We everything nuts to bolts is all up.
Good block by that man.
Get it out there, man.
Ryan. Start with you guys. The
Yeah.
next generation of culinary professionals.
Most def.
That are gonna pave the way.
So now how are you getting all these salts?
I work with a distributor, a wholesaler out on the West Coast called Saltworks. And they're just a wholesale distributor about 10 different sea salts and mineral salts from around the world. And I just hand selected 7 that I thought would work well together with the right grain size, the specific mineral content, and just played around with some different formulas until the first one kind of came to life, which looked beautiful. And I think that has a lot, we know that about food. Food has to, be presentable and look good. And, that goes down to salt. There's no reason why even your salt can't look pretty. If you could see this up close, you might better understand it. It looks like the beaches of the Caribbean. It looks like sand.
Yeah,
We
it
do
is.
we do love the Caribbean.
Especially you.
It has a really nice mix of colors, and so it would be a great finishing salt. And of course, there's no reason not to cook with it. It's
Well, yeah, no, and it really is a finishing salt. It's really more of a table salt at this point. The grain size kind of lends itself to just like you go out to a restaurant and there's table salt on the table. It's the same grain size as that. It just contains a varying amount of different mineral salts.
So if I want to order
Yeah.
it, I go through you.
Perfect.
So if I want to order it, I go through
in the
you.
wrong restaurant. All your customers will be saying,
What's that, Chef?
If I want to order it, I go through
"We
you,
didn't
Sean,
hear you."
to
Right
order.
now, we are the sole retailers of it. Yeah.
Good.
We are
I need
working
your
with a
link.
couple meal prep delivery guys, a vegan company if you want to try vegan. He's selling it for us as well. But yeah, just directly through me and my wife.
Oh, cool. Sounds
Trying to
good.
get into some stores. We're hoping.
You should go on Shark Tank.
Yeah. No, I think we can do it together as a culinary community. We can make this a thing.
I'm too
Most
lazy.
def.
So feel free to converse for a minute. We need to take a few-minute break, and then I need all of you guys for a few minutes to talk about some school business. Okay? It won't take long. I promise I'll be back.
All right, so you want us to get back on it, like how long?
I wouldn't even get off. I
how
would
about
just stay
10
where you
minutes?
are.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, we'll say about 10 minutes. Okay?
I people are saying, all right, bet.
All right. I'll be here.
I think we need to have a discussion about something.
I'll leave this on for you. Yeah, anything you want to discuss about it, I'm here.
I think we have to discuss the land.
I have a
the
few
land
questions for the group since we have a nice varied mix. Yeah, whoever's here.
These are good, Sean.
What? Yeah, like 'em?
Chef? Anybody there?
I can hear you.
I can hear you, Chef.
All right, guys, we got to have a
Right here.
discussion about the way this restaurant business is going to be after we come out of this. It's not going to be the same as when you went in the school.
Nope.
The restaurant business is going to be very different.
Yep. I agree with you 100%.
What do you
You
think?
know, the restaurants aren't going to be full anymore, at least for a long time.
Do you